3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Can hear you.
I can hear you.
Oh,
I don't know what that
Can you
was.
hear me?
I can hear
I can.
you.
Hey.
I can hear you. Well, that's wonderful. We've got because I've got cheap Zoom. We happily for you, that means I haven't got very much time on this. So
Speed chat.
yeah, well, it's speed chat. Well, I've got 20 questions for you. No, 10 questions. 10 questions. But I don't know who else is coming on. So
Is
Well,
Richard?
is Richard coming on?
I don't know.
I
We'll
think
see.
we're expecting him.
He said, yeah. Well, he said he was.
Well, before he comes on, let's talk about him.
Let me see more of you.
Because
That's
what?
better.
Because it's not as if we're going to put this out into the internet nor nothing. So we can say what we like. What's the best thing about Richard?
He knows all the lines.
Yes, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's he's just a lovely person to perform with. He's a very
Absolutely.
generous actor, I'd say.
Oh, bugger off. Now I've got a picture of Putin. Why don't I got a picture of Putin?
You've got a picture of Putin?
Yeah.
How have you managed that?
I don't know.
Have you been infiltrated?
Shoes.
Are you in Henley-on-Thames, by the way?
No, I've come away from Henley-on-Thames.
Now,
because I was so drunk last night. It was a good thing that I came away.
you were drunk?
Yeah, well, I'd had a third of a bottle of wine, 4 porn star martini before the concert, 4 porn star martinis after the concert. That was all. I didn't have any more.
For what? Did you say porn star?
It was a damn good concert anyway.
What did you say? You had 4 what?
Porn star martinis.
Porn star martinis.
Have you never had one?
No, I don't drink.
Well, you won't ever have one then.
Anyway, Richard's here.
I think you can get a virgin porn star martini.
Yeah. You can get one from Marks, but they don't call it porn star. They wouldn't call it porn star.
No, listen, let's move on to the show, shall we? Shall we, ladies and gents? Richard, is anybody else in your blessed company?
No, we are us 4, or we 3 and you. So this is us. Apologies for being a moment or 2 late.
Do not worry in the slightest. We were just talking about you before you played.
I shall go away then and allow you to carry on talking about
me.
So
Zoe, would you like to say the lovely things you were just saying about Richard? But don't say the horrible things you were saying about Richard. Only say the nice things.
David and I were just saying it's brilliant that you know all the lines. And also you're a very generous performer to share the stage with. So there you go.
Well, make sure you say that again when we start properly. Or have we started properly?
Yeah, we have. This is all part of it. Yeah,
this is all part of it.
Warts and all. Because I learned a lot from your podcast, which I thought was really, really good, if I may say. Along with all your publicity for the show, which is just blisteringly fantastic. Now, I have 10 questions for you. Are you ready? We have to try and get through all of these 10 before the end of the chat, which is in about sort of 25 minutes or so. Are you ready, humble boy cast?
It's like mastermind.
It is, yes. I haven't got the mastermind though. That's David's got the mastermind, I think, hasn't he?
We're a week away from being ready.
Yes.
A week away. Well, here it is. Here's question number 1. Everyone's got to answer this. Here it comes. Why should people come and see Humble Boy?
Because at the moment, everyone else is. I mean, we're very low on tickets. So if you do want to come and see it quickly. I just think it's just a beautiful, funny, emotional roller coaster. If you're looking if you're looking to laugh, be disgusted, be moved, cry your eyes out, connect to your own all sorts, then it's just a beautiful play. Something for everyone, apart from children.
Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? Is anything, Zoe and David? Anything you want to add?
It's a lovely. Sorry, Joe. It's a lovely play, absolutely super play, and and I'm playing with such good people. It's embarrassing how good these people are.
Yeah, it is.
And I sit in awe around the table thinking, God, aren't they clever and aren't they good? And
agree with you.
It's frightening, Graham. Which it is when I watch you, of course.
Yes. Moving on.
It's a lovely cast. We're ever so fond of each other, and I think it shows most of the time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It is very friendly cast. I was saying to Penny the other day how much time we lose rehearsing, sort of apologising to each other for a dropped line. And no, that was my. No, I didn't give you the right cue. No, absolutely no. No, it was 10 minutes. Should we just move on to the next line then? Because we're all so lovely.
Yeah, it is literally true. It is literally true. Zoe, what would you like to say about that? Why should people come and see it, do you think?
I just think that the characters are so diverse in the play. Their stories are so unique. I mean, there are parallels to Hamlet, but it's a gorgeous production. It's a comedy. People will laugh, hopefully. I'm pretty sure there's some really entertaining moments, as well as some pretty sad moments in the play as well. But I think, yeah, as Richard said, it's got something for everybody. It's a really emotive story, and unlike Hamlet, there's positivity at the end. So I think people will hopefully leave feeling quite uplifted as well.
Tremendous. Okay, here we come. Thank you very much. Question number 2 of 10. And we're starting with David for this one. Are you ready, David? Here it comes. Why did you want to be in this amazing production?
Well, it was. I'd heard it's a bit back. You probably asked the wrong one. I'd heard that it was going on, and I'd also heard they hadn't found a George. So I rang Pam. I think I spoke to Pam. And she said, well, I don't know whether we have or not. So I had not knowing anything about the play. So I emailed Richard, and he said, no, we come along. So I went along to the audition stroke reading stroke. Nice to see Richard again after so many years. And at the end of it, Chris, the director, said, well, we actually can't find anybody else to play George. Would you do it? So
it wasn't the most gracious job offer I've ever.
Is that true? That can't be true. Is that true?
No. I mean, there were other people.
It's not a million miles away. We had twisted.
Yeah, we had a number of people that Chris had seen for Rosie, but yeah, the pickings were slimmer for George, and I think as soon as Chris heard you read, he was just like, yeah, absolutely not. We don't need to look any further, because we would have carried on looking if you weren't so brilliant.
Well, no, since you've got the floor,
I would have said yes if I'd have read the whole play before I said yes. But
yes. Richard, you have the floor now since you're on it.
Why did I do it?
Why did you want to be in this production?
Well, I mean, similarly, that it's such a brilliant play. I haven't done anything for a while. Recently, I've been focusing on this directing and things, and B, I've become a bit of a sort of last-minute stand-in for hire. If somebody drops out of a show, or then Rich will do it. He's so I hadn't sort of done anything from start to finish for a while, and then sort of 3.5 years ago, David Mears, lovely David Mears, kind of lent me this play and said, "Look, are you interested?" And although it's very funny, one of the central premises is grief, and I'd sort of not long since lost my mum, and I sort of connected with lots of the themes in the play and his difficulty kind of dealing with his father's death, Felix's father's death, and it seemed to be something really special, and that sort of hit me at the time. Also, he's constantly referred to as being fat, and I thought this is a lovely opportunity for me not to worry about the diet for a little while, just allow things to spread. And that's not only why I kind of took the role, because but also I was so keen that it happened after lockdown.
I'm going to try and not. I have so many things I want to follow up on, but I'm really going to try not to. I'm taking tips from your beautiful podcast that you put out, which I thought was hilarious and really beautiful thing, really. Okay, next, now, Zoe, why did you want to be in this production?
Well, as soon as I read the play, it just absolutely blew me away. It's just so beautifully written, the language, the dialogue. I mean, when you get a text like that, it's an absolute gift as a performer, to be honest with you. And the women in this play are powerful women, and that really appealed to me. It's kind of one of the themes of the play is really kind of that women are taking control. It's that kind of inverse power relationship. And I think that the character I'm playing, Rosie, it was going to be quite a challenge as a performer to take on that role. And yeah, I just thought it would be an absolute gift of a part to have a good crack at, really. So yeah, I think reading it, I was really keen to be involved in the production.
And now, let's stay with you, Zoe, if we may, because the next question is kind of a neat follow-on to what you just said. So here we go. Next question is, what is the best thing, and guess what question 4 is going to be, what's the best thing about your character?
Oh, she's feisty. Yeah. So, I mean, she's Felix's old flame, and they haven't seen each other for 7 years. So you can imagine the first time that they see each other in 7 years, there's quite a lot of unfinished business. But she's very straight talking, she's feisty, and she's quite dominant in the relationship. So it's just really nice to have a female role. I know there are great female roles, but she's certainly not submissive. She knows what she wants, and yeah, she's not afraid to be quite straight talking, even to Felix's mother. He's quite a formidable character. So yeah, I like playing feisty female roles, and Rosie is certainly one of those.
Thank you very much. Who should we go to now? David, let's go to you for this one. Best thing about your character, David?
He's drunk most of the time, and I think that gives me a certain amount of freedom. And now he tells me I'm drunk, and now I come on absolutely pissed. But it's great. It's a sort of proper part, and I haven't done a lot of real proper parts for a long time. And he goes from being romantic to being very cross. I mean, if anybody tackles him about something, he swears. That's. It also means that I don't have to learn all the lines totally right, as long as I put a swear word in. That's absolutely that's the way it is.
Oh.
And I have to call my Flora. That's who Pam plays. I call her Flora, and I call her Bun, and I call her Bunny. And I've decided I have no idea which way around they go, whichever one comes out. So there's a little bit more fluidity with me, which everybody knows if they've ever acted with me.
No, I've never known that.
I think most of the cues are getting there.
I've always known you to be syllable perfect in your lines from about second rehearsal. So this is a departure.
Well, you taught me everything I know, Graham.
Yes, both of us. Yeah. Richard, the best thing about your character you play?
Good grief. He's lovely to play because he's so complex and multifaceted. He's warm, but he's also uncertain. He's as an actor playing him, you get to be quite kind of big and bold, and he has moments of confidence, and then has moments of incredible introspection, and it's that whole range you get with Felix. He's probably sort of autistic, so he's very, whatever he thinks and feels, he'll say and do, which is fun as an actor, that you're very much not playing one note, and he'll flip from within a speech to about 30 different thoughts, and he will just express and portray each one of them.
That's very Hamletian, isn't it? Oh, sorry,
yeah.
I'm following up. And the worst thing about your character, the thing that people would, other characters dislike the most, or what's the worst thing about your character? Let's stay with you, Richard.
Well, yes. So the worst thing about playing him is different from what his worst trait.
Do both then.
Do both. Worst thing about playing him is that he's an astrophysicist, and he talks a lot about string theory, and that's a tricky learn. But I think again, different people dislike different things about him. He's quite bumbly. He's quite kind of because he says what he thinks. He's got a stammer, and if you don't get him on the good day, or you don't ask him the right question, you're not going to get the response, you know. And I think most of the characters at one point or another just want to grab him and shake him and say, "What are you going to do? Do something, make a decision, do something." And he's quite inactive in that respect.
Rich, David, worst thing about the character. Remind me, what's the name of your character that you play, David?
The Nature of George.
You play a character called George.
George,
yeah. Right. So what's the worst thing about George?
I can't really think of one.
I can think of a few.
He's younger
sure
than
Felix
me.
can.
Pardon?
I'm sure Felix can think of a few.
Yeah, I know. It's not great. I think, and we've said this before between the two of us. We hate each other, despite what we all said at the beginning, and we swear at each other, and we're very antagonistic between each other, which I find quite difficult with Richard, because I hope we're very good friends. And
yes.
But generally, I don't really. There's nothing particularly I hate doing it. It's very free.
No, I mean, what about his personality? Is there anything about George's personality that people will think, oh, I'm not sure about that? What?
Well, I mean, George started off like, I think he was not particularly wealthy. Probably bought. He runs a coach company. He no doubt bought an ex-army coach in about the 1950s and built it up into a company. And he's pretty rough around the edges and in the middle, really. And he swears an awful lot. So when Richard said it's something for everybody, I think there is an age limit to what you should be doing with this play.
What is the age limit? Anybody over 80, really? Under 80, you would be disturbed.
Well, absolutely.
I will be, yes.
We should be very careful, very careful. You're all right, Graham, but I should be very careful.
I am very, very
He does
careful.
want to do despicable things on stage, which I won't say about.
Ooh, give us a tempting, because sell a few tickets. Give us a hint.
Well, I could give you 10 notes because I'm sitting down. And he's great fun to play. He really is super fun to play. And I have to dance a bit, and that's not very good.
You have to dance, ladies and gentlemen.
I think it's a very, very small
first light.
It's a very, very small D. And Pam had a choreographer which she found, or somebody who could dance. I had my nephew's girlfriend, who's currently resident director choreographer at Hamilton. She taught me something.
Wow.
And then we eventually got one that was all to us together. There's not much point in having one each having a separate choreographer, because when you put it together, it doesn't matter. And so we've done it together now. I have to say, it wouldn't go far in Strictly. The trouble is, if there is a worse thing, it's having to dance, move, and talk at the same time.
Yes, that's unreasonable. That's unreasonable.
That's unfair.
It's unfair. Yeah. Zoe, the worst thing about
unfair.
Zoe, what's your character's name again?
Rosie.
Yes. So what is the worst thing about Rosie, or the least best thing?
Do you know what? I'm actually quite fortunate. I think I've got one of the more likable characters in the play. She's actually one of the more sympathetic characters. So yeah, she's kind of quite selfless and empathetic. But I think she is quite sexually liberated. She's been around the block, has Rosie, and I think quite a few of the other characters in the play judge her for that behavior. So it's quite interesting, actually. She's she's quite liberated, but she suffers for that behavior as well. So I think it comes from her breakup with Felix. It's probably part of her getting over that. But certain characters judge her for that behavior. So
right. Oh, well, I can hear those last few tickets getting snapped up even as we speak.
Yes.
Right, here we go. Next question. Question 5. Halfway there now, everybody. Halfway there. And there's a controversial question at the end, just to keep people listening, or even viewing, because of course we put this out visually, using visual medium. Okay, here's the next one. Well, we'll go back to Richard for this one, and here it is. But it's for everybody as well, of course. Now, here we are. If your character, you play Felix, right? Is it Felix? Yeah.
Mhm.
If your character was a bee, what kind of honey would it make?
Oh, oh, I thought you were going to say what kind of bee. That's an easy one. I was the drone. But what kind of honey? I think he would make a very, very, very small amount of something incredibly complicated. I mean, I think it's true that a honeybee makes an eighth of a teaspoon in its lifetime. Makes a tiny, and yeah, tiny, but there's just a lot of them. Felix would make a hundredth of that. But it would be kind of complex, and it probably wouldn't get around to actually finishing it. So you would have to wait quite a long time for this tiny amount of love to be done.
Wow, interesting. How intriguing. Zoe, let's go to you. What kind of honey would your character make if it was a bee?
I think I'd be looking after everybody else who was making the honey, to be honest with you.
Nice one. Nice one.
Get a lot made myself, but I'd make sure that everybody else could had what they needed to make their own, I think.
So would you be this seriously expensive honey that's massively good for your health, whatever that's called, about 60 quid a jar?
Manuka, whatever it's called, something like that.
Yeah, that one. No one ever buys because it's too expensive, but it's the one you walk straight past on the shelf and go down to the bottom shelf, as I do at Tesco, to buy basically liquid sugar, which I'm sure is what it is. So okay. So you'd be a healing honey. You'd be a healing honey, would you?
Yeah, I think so.
Rosie would be a healing honey. Yeah, okay. David, what kind of honey would your character be?
Well, I don't know whether I would, because the two queens that I play opposite and with both kick me out, really. They're both very rude. I don't suppose I'd get anywhere near the hive. If I did make honey, it would certainly be sold in Lidl.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised you haven't included that in your publicity and merching.
It would really have an alcoholic edge to it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Very good if you
mead or something.
Very good if you got a cold. So here we are now. The next one is they're getting tougher. These now, you see, this is why the three of you are on it, because these are seriously now rock hard questions coming up. And we're going to go to Zoe for this one, to start this one. And here it comes. Zoe, what is another character's, you don't have to say the exact line, you can paraphrase if you like. What is another character's best line?
Oh, it's X-rated. Can I say it? Probably.
You can say what you like.
Yeah. I just love all the swear words. Bollocks. Yes, bollocks tends to be quite a good one. David has some cracking lines, actually. Yeah, David always has a really good profanity at just the right point. So yes, I'd love to say lots of David's lines.
Would you like to? This is not a family show.
Well, he does have quite a few bollocks, I think. I do like your no, I do. Yes, that's one of my
right, last time I looked.
Yeah.
There's no tickets left now. Richard, another character's best line.
The character's best line. I mean, I could just rattle off lots of David's, but Charlotte Froud, who plays Mercy Lopp, absolutely brilliantly. She's got some lovely lines, but most of them are the punchline of jokes. So possibly one of my favorite lines in the whole thing is he should have had a duvet, which will mean nothing to nothing without all the setup. But it's a line that's going to bring I think kind of get quite a nice laugh on the night. He should have had a duvet. She's yeah.
That could go on the T-shirt, couldn't you? When you're merching, go put that on the T-shirt. He should have
had a duvet.
Who says that again? Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte.
David.
She's got a lot of lovely lines.
David, another character's.
Charlotte's
line.
line, which Zoe feeds her when we're talking about how to commit suicide, which we do at some stage, in a funny bit.
Yes.
Everybody's going to put their head in the gas oven. She's going to put her head in the Arga. And Zoe says it's quite difficult. I don't know which way around it is, but it's quite difficult to do it in Arga. And Charlotte said, yes, mine's quite difficult to light. Which I think is quite amusing.
That is quite a good line for a dark subject, isn't it? That really,
absolutely,
absolutely. It's a Greek tragic kind of way. Okay, here we go. And now then, a real challenge for you three, but you're up to it because this cast has been talked about as a dream cast. It's like I'm being straightforward about that. It is just the most blistering cast that has been assembled. So I would like you to, if you don't mind, to answer in character. So it's a little bit of in role, but you're going to.
Ending.
Could you please be the character that you play, and when you answer this question? And the question is very easy one. We're going back to Richard for this one. So answer as Felix, if you would be so good. So what would Felix say was the meaning of life?
The meaning of life is to try and solve everything and to work out the puzzle and solve the meaning of life, and anything short of solving out the theory of everything is a bit of a failure.
See, we've missed you on stage. We really have, Richard. We really have. I think everyone would agree with that. This is one of the many things that people are talking about with this show. Is, oh gosh, Richard, we haven't seen Richard on stage. People, because you're very known for your brilliant acting. More recently, as you say, for your astonishing direction. You're spoken of in many quarters as being a genius. I think that's fairly widely held view.
Very small corners.
Well, that's yes. Who knows? Zoe, could you please be Rosie for us for a moment? And if she were asked what is the meaning of life, what would she say?
The meaning of life is to raise your children in a happy environment, make sure that they have everything they need to thrive and flourish, and live life to the maximum, living life in the moment, not worrying about what tomorrow brings, making the most of fate, and being present and happy. You never know what tomorrow will bring. So spontaneity.
Oh my goodness, how lovely. No wonder you're healing honey. That's yes. Oh gosh, yes, how important that is in today's troubled world. Crikey, my internet has just said I've got 10 minutes left. You'll be delighted to know. And now let's go to you, David. Answer in character, please. As George, what is the meaning of life?
Totally in character. I take after my daughter, or she takes after me. I have never given a serious thought to what the meaning of life was, and I just live it to the full. And currently, my life is to try and court and get hold and marry Flora, Richard's mother, and that's all really. That's all I'm interested in doing, whether I do it, sober or drunk. But I don't think I've ever given it any real serious thought. If you run a bus company, you don't really.
But you are
just get on with it. Why we put in for a millisecond in Richard's world.
Whilst on a constant hunt for the next porn star martini, presumably.
Well, yes, that of course.
yes. Okay, and so here we go. The last 10 minutes, and we have 3 questions to get through, and here they are. Right, yes. Here we go. Let's go to you. We'll stay with you, David, for this. Here it comes. What is something surprising about the play that will rock the audience's world? David.
I think the fact, not one thing, I think the fact that it goes from very funny to very serious, and it embraces all emotions in all ways, in every character, is unusual and brilliantly done. And I think you come out, I'm not a great person to come out of theatre thinking, oh gosh, I'm being, I don't understand how to be really thoughtful. But I think coming out of this, you've got a bit to think about. And apart from, more importantly, having enjoyed it.
Yes.
And that's enjoyed it and the evening. That's terribly important. It's also entertaining.
Yes. Yes, what a great combo that is. That's wonderful.
Yeah, serious plays can sometimes not be entertaining.
No, they can't.
Is ever so entertaining.
No,
the way we do.
This is true. Richard, something about this play that will rock the audience's world.
Without kind of any spoilers, I would have to just reiterate what David said. It is that play where at the top of the page you are rooting for a character, halfway down you're angry at them, and then at the bottom of the page you're laughing at how ridiculous they are. And there's it will make people think, I think, for a few days afterwards, and reflect on bits that they'll spot and they maybe hadn't thought about. I think without spoilers, that's as far as I can go.
Intriguing, though. That is a good. That's a lovely. It's a lovely, intriguing thing. Yes. Zoe, what do you think will rock the audience's world?
Sorry to reiterate, but I think it's the multiple layers of the play. I love sort of plays and films that you watch where for days after you're seeing the theme.
Yes.
And I think, there's everything from its kind of parallels to Hamlet to Bee's theoretical physics and Osmia. There's so many lovely layers. I think people will go away and this play will stay with them for days, which for me is often the best type of plays that I like to see.
I can't wait.
Get into people's brains, I think, and hopefully they might even want to come and see it again.
They almost certainly won't get a ticket, but it's worth trying. It's worth trying. If they come once, come again. I'm coming twice. As it happens, I am seeing it twice. I'm seeing it on the Thursdays in Usherette, and then we're seeing it on the Friday night as a proper punter. And it was very hard to get tickets, which is the next question. Before I've got before my 5 minutes run out, and I've got one more if we have time. So can somebody send me an actual hyperlink that I can put into the show description for this? And because I'll try and put this out tonight or tomorrow. That is Saturday or Sunday. Where do people go for tickets?
Tickets available from the RSC box office. If they go to the Bear Pit website, click on our show, go through to the Bear Pit, the RSC box office, and they can get tickets there, or they can get tickets in person. There's a phone number as well for Bear Pit audiences. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday matinee nearly sold out.
Wow.
Wednesday is the only night where there's kind of real Tuesday where there's real availability. Everything else is down to about sort of 20 tickets left or sold out.
And this is my last question now, because if you give me the hyperlink, that if anybody's So we have 4 minutes left now. So do you think, because this year it's a really interesting year for productions in this town, isn't it? Because some shows have come off and some haven't, for one reason or another, beyond one's control, and I've been on the wrong end of that, sadly. But we've revived it now. But there's a number of independent productions happening. We love working for the Bear Pit, don't we all? We've all done that, and we absolutely love it, and so on. Bear Pit is just a beautiful company to work with and for. But you're doing this independent production, and Jackie's doing hers. Jackie Lyons is doing hers in March, I think, and that's independent. And I'm doing mine in Under Catine. That's going on in July. Is there something in the air, or is this just a coincidence? And I suppose the other question, the more important question that's allied to that is, do you think the fact that you have worked together as an independent group, Humble Productions, I think is the name you've given your group. Is that what kind of spirit has that engendered, I suppose?
Oh, end with an easy one.
Well,
I
no
think
one's listening by now. You see, they've all switched off by now. After the explicit sexual references that were referred to on a number of occasions, people have. Go on. Yeah.
I mean, I think theatre works best when there's a passion and a drive behind it, and the fact that this has come from a group of people who really wanted to get this specific show up and running. The problem always with companies, with professional or amateur, is that they sort of have to do another show, and it's like, what are we going to do? Whereas
Yeah.
because this is absolutely coming from, there is absolutely no reason for us to do a show other than here's a group of people who really want to do this show. It just gives it a different energy and a different feel. And we've been so lucky to get such a lovely cast, and Pam, Chris Dobson, who's directing, and myself sort of producing it. But there's no titles, there's no sort of hierarchy. We're just sort of doing what we think we can do, and I just think it gives it a nice energy.
Because you've assembled the whole team, isn't it? Your backstage, your technicals, your publicity. Everyone who's associated with this play are top people.
Phenomenal.
Who, magically have come in this.
The sculptor Chris Johns has been down in the theatre just today, building an apple tree coming out over the stage, and I mean, he's an incredibly talented man. We've got it's a yours truly excluded. It's just a creme de la creme.
Yours truly included, I think everyone would agree. 90 seconds left. David, Zoe, anything you want to add about the team spirit?
No, I think it's absolutely fantastic, and it was a complicated thing, and because COVID made life very complicated for a lot of theatres, and even now we're finding people are still reticent about coming out. But this was Richard's dream, and he really put it together, and he said, I want to do it, and he's done it. And because of his enthusiasm, he's got the best cast he could possibly get, bar me. And it's absolutely fantastic. It's great. And people will come out more than anything else saying, bloody hell, didn't he have a lot of lines he was on the whole time?
Zoe, the team spirit type thing?
I mean, I think that's it in a nutshell. The passion is clear for everybody to see. I mean, everybody wants to be there and tell this story, and the enthusiasm, I think, will come off when people come and see the performances. It's going to be a very special show.
Great note to end on. We've done it. We've done all the questions in under 40 minutes, and we're going to get cut off any second now. So I'm going to put this out tonight or tomorrow. Thank you so much for giving me the time. It's a great honor for me to be talking to, you, because I'm in awe of all three of you and in awe of all the cast. I can't wait to see the show. Ta very much.